What's up, dads? Welcome to another episode of DadSignal. This is your host, Doug Wilson. I hope that you've had a great week. I hope that you've mowed your lawn. I hope that you've taken the trash out. Today was trash day for me. I remembered to take the trash out. I think I'm like 4 weeks in a row of remembering to take the trash out. So that's a huge win for me. I hope you have remembered too. And I hope that if you haven't, I hope you're listening to this and you're remembering, oh, it's trash day or tomorrow's trash day. So you're welcome. But I hope you're leading your home with intention. This show is for dads or anybody that is into dad content, that is wanting to be a more present, intentional father in their home, husband, uh, male figure, whatever you want to call yourself. I am your fatherhood coach extraordinaire. I hate calling myself a professional, but I think I need to lean into it at this point. And very excited for this week's episode. A lot of great topics lined up. And we're going to jump right in with our weekly highlights. I'm going to I'm going to preface this episode by just sharing there's a lot of really great updates to come. May get a little bit of a little emotional as we talk through some of these things. So just FYI, it's cool to cry. Okay. So let's just set that state. Let's set that tone right now, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we make it through this thing, and I don't have to edit too much of this out. But it's been a very eventful week, and it's going to be cathartic. It's going to feel good talking through. And I hope that in listening to some of this, you feel heard and seen, and know that you are not the only person that you're not the only dad that's going through some stuff. All right. So on that note, we're gonna jump in. We'll start with some weekly highlights. So we'll start with the good stuff, moments, the smiles, and and all that jazz. And I'm gonna kick it off. I'm looking this way because I'm looking at my screen and I have some notes that I'm following along, to just make sure that I'm keeping a steady train of thought. But we're gonna start off with memory lane with Avery. Um, I haven't. I'm sure I've explained or I've talked about this a little bit in previous episodes, but my oldest, Avery, she's 7 years old. And she doesn't live with us full time. She goes between me and her mom. At this point is about 50-50, which is really awesome. They live not very far from here, maybe like 30 minutes away. And we kind of rotate where she'll come over for like 4 or 5 sleeps. I think 4 sleeps. I should probably know this by now, but somewhere between 4 and 5 sleeps. And then on the off week, she'll come over for like 2 sleeps and have just kind of like a quick hangout. So this past week, she was over for her 4 or 5 sleep, whatever it was. And I'll start by saying, and maybe this resonates with some of you if you have kind of like a part-time custody deal going on with one of your kids, or if you're a girl dad and maybe going through the same thing or whatever, you have her full time. But something about being a girl dad, something about my relationship with my daughter when she's here. I obviously am so excited and I love the time that we get to spend together. There's obviously like the level of guilt that I feel. Um, there's a whole past and a whole history behind this story that maybe we'll save for another episode. I don't want to. This doesn't need to be a 3-hour episode, but there's a lot of history there. So that, and then just on top of the fact that I'm not with her all the time, like I am with my 2 boys, there's a level of guilt that I feel when it comes to spending time with her, and um, in the past I've kind of let that get a little dicey because I let her get away with too many things. um, just because I feel bad and I want her to, have whatever she wants and stuff like that. So it's been we've worked through it, and it's been one of those things where it's kind of like unfair treatment because I feel bad and all of those things. But um, I don't know what it is that she comes over, and the whole time that she's not here, I miss her. And then when she's here, I'm obviously excited. But then while she's here, I also like I'm like, I don't know how to interact with you fully because like with Luca, my son, he's 4. We just fight and we wrestle uh, you know, as a dad, your sons, you kind of look at them as like, I'm gonna make sure that you're the better version of me. And so sometimes I feel like I'm harder on him than I am with Avery because like I'm not trying to be a tough guy to her. But I do show a little bit of tough love with Luca because that's just a dad thing, I think. And hopefully I'm not the only one that maybe I'm saying that. I'm like, oh, I'm not. That's not how you're supposed to be. But dads, you let me know. Comment on this and let me know if that's a normal thing because I would say it's pretty normal. That as a dad, you look at your son, and you're like, I'm tough on you because I love you and I want you to be better than me. Um, and so you see things, you observe things that they're doing that you're like, hey, we're not doing that. So the tone, even the, how we interact with each other is different. And but when obviously when we're playing and stuff, we're having a good time. We're wrestling, we're fighting, we're swords, all the boy guy stuff. We watch basketball together, watch golf together. And it's great. And I love that. That feels more natural and kinda normal for me to lean into that. Um, but yes, with Avery, she obviously is into some of the same things. That age, at 7, is you're just gonna be into some of the same things as a 4-year-old boy and, the same shows and watching those kinds of things. So we're able to do that and watch things together, and sometimes she wants to play with dolls and build doll houses and that kind of stuff. I'm there for it. I love it. And we'll paint the doll house. We'll get a cardboard box and we'll paint it red, because she loves red from the Descendants movies and all that stuff. We When we're driving in the car, she'll go through her list of songs that she wants to play, and we'll blast them. We'll sing and do all that stuff. A bunch of fun. But there's just sometimes when she's here that I am like, I don't know how I'm supposed to be right now. And if I'm being honest, sometimes sh I the fact that she's here is like, that's enough for me, knowing that she's here and knowing that she's with her brother, with her brothers and that she's in the house. I know that she knows that that she's welcome and that this is her home. Uh, and for me, sometimes I'm like, well, that's good enough, right? And I'm almost like looking for a reason to get up and go do something so that I don't have to be wondering like, what am I supposed to do? What do? How do we sit? Do I just sit with you? Do we talk? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing right now? Um, and so I don't really know I don't really know why that is or where that's coming from other than just, like, as she's getting older, she's clearly expressing interest in new things, and, um, obviously, there's the part of it that is, like, the times that she's not here, she's obviously experiencing life and living life and developing and growing, and I'm not there for that, so maybe some of it is a little bit of, like, I don't know because I feel hesitant because I'm not there full time, so I don't wanna come across as like I'm trying too hard. Maybe that's it a little bit. But this past week when she was over, uh, we were doing bath night and, we rotate, so my wife and I will rotate between who's putting who down for bed, which by the way, if we can just pause for a second. when we're talking about the littles going to sleep, it always runs through my mind, and it's a wild way of phrasing putting the kids to bed, that we're putting them down. Every time I say that, like, why do we say that? Because that's like when we put a dog down, that's different. And that's kind of dark, right? Every time I'm like, all right, I'm about to go put my son down, I'm like, oh, I mean, he's going to bed. I'm going to, I'm going to go lay down with him until he falls asleep, and then I'm going to come back. Uh, anyway, every time I say that, I'm just like, that's we gotta maybe switch up how we're talking about that, or maybe I need to just get my brain into a different place. But we're doing bath night. My wife is laying down with Shiloh. He's our 18-month-old menace, absolute uh, stud of a young boy, but just a savage boy, and his personality's really blossoming. I feel like that's somewhere around that 16-month stage, 15, 16-month stage, that personality really starts to come out. And boy, has it come out. And now he's talking a little bit. So he's saying some things, and it's super cute because he can kind of pop around the corner, like, hello. And it's so cute. It's great. But so my wife is laying down with him. Um, Luca, I think, is taking a shower. So I'm bouncing back and forth between bathtub where Avery is and then the shower where he is. And then the next nights, this is just an overshare at this point. The next nights they switch. So then Luca's taking a bath and she's taking a shower, and then they just rotate. So everybody is happy. Everyone gets what they want. That's how we operate. And I'm sure we're not the only ones. I actually was on Reddit earlier, and this dad was talking about how it's Tuesday and my son is is upset that he has to take a shower, my youngest. And then it's Wednesday and my oldest is upset that he has to take a shower. And then he's just going back and forth. And it was just like I'm not looking for advice. This is just me venting about how frustrating this has been for the past 5 years, that my oldest and youngest rotate back and forth between taking a shower, and they both hate it and haven't gotten used to it. It's like it's a new thing every single night, even though we've been doing it for 5 years. Anyway, uh, I'm bouncing back and forth between shower and bath. Avery's taking a bath. And so she's in there, and this is one of the things I'm talking about, that she's in there, she's playing, and she's like, "Daddy, do you want to play?" And again, some of this I think is the distracted dad self, that like I've worked all day, and although I come home and I want to be with my family and interact with my kids and be present and stuff like that, I'm also just like I need to not have to deal with anything. So I'm on my phone, or I'm thinking about what I got to do later, about what I have to do for work the next day or something like that. And she's like, "Do you want to play? Do you want to play with the dolls that are in the bath, or the Magnetiles or something like that?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." But then I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go check on Luca," and I'm just like trying to find ways to not have to like commit, which I hate saying out loud. It's crazy that's a thing, and I know that that's something that I definitely need to work on. Um, Maybe some of the things we're going to talk about in a little bit is gonna create an opportunity for me to be a little bit more present with in those moments, and especially with her, but with obviously with all my kids. Um, so she wants to play. I'm like, yeah, let me go check on Luca, and then I'll come back, and then I come back, and I'm like, all right, we got to wrap it up. We got to get ready for bed. So I'm trying to like weasel my way out of playing. Meanwhile, I'm on my phone and I'm looking different things up. I pause for a second. I'm like, you know what? I am gonna look at. I'm just gonna look at some pictures real quick on my phone, and so I go back in the archives. I go way back because boy, tens of thousands of pictures on my phone at this point, and a lot of them are from when she's 7 now, so a lot of them are when she's 3, 2, very little, and obviously I'm like, I don't think she remembers these times, and so instead of in lieu of playing, because when we play, y'all know how it is. When you play, you gotta take on the characters, you gotta do the voices, you gotta do all these things, and then everything you do is not quite exactly right. And you're getting corrected on how you need to operate in these different roles, and you're like taking different it's like a cut scene, and then we have to redo that scene, and, I'm sure that's part of it why I'm not trying to I'm not trying to play and do all that, because I know I'm gonna get corrected 20 different times and have to start the scene over, and then it has to be however they want it to be. I'm like, "You know what? If you wanna do it like that so bad, why don't you play? And I'll be the audience, and I'll watch you." Um, so in lieu of doing all of that, we play for a little bit, and then I'm like, "Avery, baby, look, hey, check this out." And I start showing her pictures, and I started showing her videos of her when she, was 2, 3 years old, 4 years old. And back then, uh, she lived in Florida with her mom, and I was still living here in Texas. So I was flying out there um, once a month for a weekend, and I'd have her for the weekend. And, while during that weekend, I would stay at my parents' place, and I would have her over there, and we had kind of like our own little room, and we would just do our thing. And back then it was cool because Shiloh wasn't even born yet. Luca was a little baby. A period of time, Luca wasn't even born for that yet. Um, and then he was like a little baby when that was going on. So the only kid that I really had that was old enough for me to have that kinda dynamic and rapport with was her, and granted, we didn't see each other that often, but it was all that more, meaningful when I'd go, because it was like, this is the one weekend that I'm gonna have other than, like, FaceTimes every now and then, and so I was like, "I need to make the best of this," and we'd have a bunch of fun, and we'd plan things, and we'd go out and do stuff, and we had our daddy-daughter dates and all that stuff. Then, last week I was talking about how uh my loss, or like what I want to focus more on, is bringing back the daddy daughter dates and having the father son outings and stuff like that that I want to do with Luca, and just reinstating that and making that a regular thing, which I still need to do. It's okay, we'll get there. So I'm showing her all these different things, and for me, it's filling my cup because I'm getting to reminisce on all this stuff, and I'm thinking like, all right, this is just like a great distraction, because she's big into, looking at old pictures, and me telling stories about, hey, this picture was when we did this, and I flew out, and um in talking about all that stuff, I'm showing her pictures, and she's going, "Oh, wow, look, that's so cute. Look at me," and all this stuff. And then I'm looking at my phone and looking through different different pictures and videos, and I'm like, "All right, look at this one. Look at this one." And I look up, and she's like tearing up. Um, I'm like, "Oh, Avery, are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I just can't believe that I used to be so little." Boy. Yeah, and same. I was like, "Oh, Avery, trust me. Me too. I cannot believe that you used to be so little, and I just can't believe you're so big now." And that's what kickstarted all of this, is she was playing, and the way that she was playing and stuff she was saying, and everything. I was like, "God, I can't believe how big you are and how grown up you are." And I know she's only 7. It's it's gotten here pretty quick. So I can only imagine I'm gonna blink again and she's gonna be a teenager, and she keeps talking about it too. She's like, "Soon I'm gonna be 13." Like, "All right, take it easy. Just enjoy being a kid, please." And all the fears and everything that comes with what happens when your daughter gets older and starts liking, talking about boys and all this stuff. And you hope that at that age, they still wanna have something to do with you, and that you still have a close relationship and stuff, but she is getting, like, choked up and is looking at the pictures and is like, "I just can't believe I used to be so little, and whoa, look at that," and then she starts remembering different things, and, like, I showed her, there was a time when she was 3 and she came to Texas for the first time, and then so it was instead of me flying to Florida, I flew there, picked her up, and brought her back to Texas, and she was here for, like, a week, and, she got to see her Texas room for the first time, and she had this pink tent and all these different things in her room and, her own bed and all this different stuff, and I'm showing her this video, and she's like, "I I remember that." I remember the tent, and, "Oh, look at yeah, my bed, I remember that," and just starts getting super emotional with it, and it was just the coolest thing. It was such a great bonding moment that it was like, yeah, if anything, it was also like a reminder that, um we've been a part of each other's lives for your whole life, even though it may not feel like that, because you go back and forth between here and your mom's place, and you have a whole life there. You have siblings there, you have a dad over there, and you come over here, and then you have a dad over here, and you have your stepmom here, and you have your brothers here, so it's like she's going back and forth between these 2 lives, and, I know a lot of the times for her, it feels like this is new, but those moments she got to see when she was really, really little, and I was there, and we were kicking it and having a great time. She was like, "Wow." So she was realizing all those things, but then also getting really emotional. And then she remembered that, we had our own song that we would sing together, and, oh my god, and so this was like, she was a baby when I started singing this to her, newborn baby, and I would sing "Remember Me" from Coco, the Disney movie, and, little did I know at the time, but that would end up being a very uh, apt song for what the message is, and, basically says if you don't know the song, you just go look it up and listen to it because it's gut-wrenching when you listen to it and then apply it to, a dad that doesn't get to be with his daughter all the time, um, and so she started singing it, and then she wanted us to sing it together. So we started singing it together in her room while she's getting ready for bed, and she just breaks down. Um, she breaks down and then, uh, comes and gives me a hug, and, then I'm crying, and it's just this crazy moment where I don't know what was going on in her head, but she she reassured me or she told me, like, "These are happy tears. Don't worry, daddy, these are happy tears." Which is just making me lose it, because I'm like, the fact that you're even so concerned about what I'm thinking that you gotta reassure me like, "Hey, I'm okay." But, just a really, really sweet moment and, a great trip down memory lane with her, and I hope I hope I do that more. Like, that's something that I want to be more intentional about to show her like, "Hey, we've always been a part of each other's lives. We're always gonna be a part of each other's lives. I always wanna be close with you, and, I don't want you to forget any of this stuff. I don't want you to forget how much, even though there's so much time that we've been apart, I don't want you to forget how much time we've spent together and everything that we've done to make sure that we see each other and have a relationship with each other. So then she ends up uh, getting stickers out and has the see if I can put it on there. It says our song sticker, and sticks it on the back of my phone. And then she has a drawing of a phone for her from an old pretend game that we did, and she drew her phone and sticks that sticker on the back of hers. And then gets a banjo sticker. There's two of them. Sticks one on my cheek and one on her cheek. And I'll put a picture up so that you can see that. Super cute. Um, and we kept those stickers on for a full day till she ended up going home back to her mom's for a reason that we'll get into it later. But our house got hit hit with the plague. So I got knocked down, and she was the only one that didn't get caught with the bug. So my wife ended up taking her home because it was like, we're not trying to keep you here, and then you end up getting sick, and then you go back and get everyone over there sick. Memory lane with Avery was a huge win, a great way to kick off things for her coming over and staying over, and just a good reminder for me that like this is my oldest kid, this is my daughter, it's my only daughter that I have. Um, we have so much history, we have so many things that we've done together. I it, I don't need to be so hesitant and um like unsure of how to be around her, because all she wants to do is just be a daddy's girl. And um she loves coming over and spending time with me, spending time with my wife, spending time with the kids, with her brothers, and just leaning into that and not getting so in my head about is it okay that I'm like getting close with her, because what if she doesn't feel that kind of connection anymore? And just remembering like, yeah, she does, and she's always going to. And if I keep pushing away, though, if I keep kind of feeling like I have to remove myself, then eventually that relationship might be strained, and I don't want that to happen. So, um, big highlight, almost a 30-minute highlight. Jeez Louise. So, moving on, the brother bond between Luca and Shiloh is getting really, really real. And I will try not to take too long on this, but I recorded a video earlier in the week of them playing with each other. And like I said before, Shiloh's getting to a place where his personality is coming out so much that he can start to kind of keep up with playing with Luca, who's 4. And so Luca's doing his thing, playing with a soccer ball, playing with his toys, doing his thing. And Shiloh's up and running around, chasing him around. He's, trying to fight with him because he sees me and Luca fighting. And it's just cool. It's cool to see Luca being a big brother. It makes me think of when I was a little kid and how I was with my big brothers, and how much I like looked up to them and wanted to be accepted in their eyes and be cool to them and be able to hang out with them and keep up with what they were doing. And I see Shiloh kind of looking like that and wanting to do the same things that Luca's doing. And sometimes Luca is like, bro, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to play with you. But then other times he's like, yeah, come here, buddy. And he's being all like big brother with him, and helping him out, showing him toys, giving him different things. And just it's like those proud parent, proud dad moments where you're just kind of watching them and you're like, man, that's all them. They're just amongst each other, just learning how to interact with each other. And you see how much they love each other, which is just so cool. I can't wait for them to get older too. And like imagine when Shiloh's 4. And I'm not even gonna try to do that math right now because I'm gonna expose how much of a scatterbrain I am trying to calculate that, but Luca will be much older and Shiloh will be 4. Avery will be however old she is. But just that dynamic and what that's gonna look like is gonna be wild. So yeah, huge highlight for the week there was just watching them interact with each other. Again, we were all sick for a period of time, so there was a lot of time I had to take a day off of work. There was a period of time where we're just doing nothing but laying around watching each other, and or we're laying around watching the kids, and they're just having a ball. Um, and just yeah, Luca and Shiloh, the way that they're bonding is just really, really cool. Um, so talking about the stomach bug, this thing, man, I don't know if it was like rotavirus or whatever they want to call it, gastroenteritis or I'm just making things up at this point, but we had a plague go through our house this past week, and and it ripped us. It ripped us a new one. It was tough. It started with I think it hit my wife first. We were trying to backtrack and see where this came from. I know I know we all do this when something hits the house, you and the missus, you're like, all right, where did this come from? Let's try to scale this back. A lot of times it comes from school. The kids bring something home from school. But our kids are homeschooled. So, you know, let's move on. Next, like it can't be that because they're here and they're spending most of their time here. So I know they didn't pick it up from school. Where did this come from? And the only thing we could think of is that my wife serves at church, um, watching the kids, and so we're thinking that one of those little kids there must have had something, passed it to her because she was the first one to go down with the sickness. And then I think it spread to Luca, and then from Luca went to Shiloh, and then Shiloh to me. Then it like I don't know, it like tra- morphed and turned into like a head cold, and so it was just a wild ride for a week, for pretty much the whole week. And I thought I was riding clear of it because I just had my like I'm the dad. I don't have time to get sick. So I was going for a while there pretty good. And yeah, maybe because I'm going out to work and I'm out of the house for a while. So I have less time to be around the sickness. But it eventually caught me. I think it was like Thursday or something. I'm at work and I'm like halfway through the day, got a crazy headache. The lights are like messing with me and I'm starting to get nauseous. I'm thinking I'm getting nauseous because my head hurts so bad. So then I get home and I'm like, all right, I take some medicine. My head's starting to feel a little bit better. Still feeling kind of nauseous though. Um, I try to throw up. It doesn't like this. Nothing's happening. Uh, and I'm just like, what is going on? I end up having to take the next day off. Um, I feel like I barely even was alive for that day. And then Saturday felt better ish until, by this point, this is like day 3 of no caffeine. So halfway through the day Saturday, another crazy headache hits me. If you're in Texas, if you're in North Texas, then you know what's up with Nebraska Furniture Mart. We're out there looking around trying to find a new bed for Luca so that he can kind of get his own situation going. This room that I'm currently in will not look like this forever. It is soon going to be Avery's room. She has her own room right now, but currently, uh, Luca and Shiloh share a room, but Luca doesn't want to sleep in there. He's sleeping in our room. Ah. So Shiloh's sleeping in that room by himself. Avery has her own room that she's sleeping in. This room is currently like my space to get some more stuff done. Computer setup, desk, TV, the whole shebang. But we're going to transform it. We're going to transform it into Avery's room so that Luca can take her old room and then Shiloh will stay in the room that he's in. So, all of that to say, we're at Nebraska. We're looking for beds so that we can kind of get Luca excited to be like, hey, buddy, what about this bed? This one has a slide on it. Or like, hey, look at these steps so you can climb up and get on the bed. To encourage him to like, hey, this is your cool new bed for your cool new room that you can go sleep in all night by yourself and not have to sleep in our room because his mattress is literally on the floor next to our bed. Um, and we did that to keep him from wanting to come into our bed because I mean that was just disrupting our sleep. And you know, you know, you can't be getting in between Papa and Mama Bear. You never know what's going to happen. So you know, you know what I'm saying. So we ended up bringing his mattress in the room for him to sleep on the floor, and that's been working. But then that means when he goes to bed, we can't even be in our room to watch TV or do anything. We're sitting on the couch, and that's fine. But the couch is not as comfy as our bed, and these are first world problems that. It sounds like I'm complaining a little bit. I kind of am a little bit too, but it is what it is. We just want him to feel comfortable in his own room. I think it's like he's scared in there and we just want him to get excited. So we're taking him to Nebraska. I get this crazy headache, uh, which I later find out is a caffeine headache. We come home, trying to lay on the couch, get past it. I take medicine, does nothing. Um, I'm like, I'm gonna take a shower in the dark. If you've never taken a pitch black shower, you haven't even lived at all. So I don't know what you're doing, and you need to go try that because it's great. Sensory deprivation is almost like what it feels like, and that did nothing. So um, that was cool, but it still felt nice to take a warm shower. Um, I come back out. I'm like, that didn't do anything for me. This is terrible. Like, this is terrible. So, end up making dinner. I get dinner ready for the kids. And then I'm like, I'm just going to go lay in the bed for like 5 minutes. It's like 6 p.m. I'm like, I just need to go lay down for like 5, 10 minutes, put the pillow over my head, block out all the light and just pray or something. God, please take this pain away from my brain. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in a cold sweat at 10:30 p.m. My wife is like, "What's happening?" Because I'm like breathing heavy. I know I had a terrible dream. I just don't remember what it was. Thank God, because I know it was bad. I know it was bad if I woke up like that. And my head still hurt. I was like, this is I still am like wincing with how much my head hurts. And my wife was like, just go back to sleep, sleep it off, go back to sleep, wake up at, 5:30 in the morning to get ready for work. My head still hurts. So at this point, I'm like, all right, you know what? This has to be, the fact that I haven't had a cup of coffee or a Red Bull or something. So, sure enough, I get ready, I get to work, I make a cup of coffee, and from, like, the first sip, my head is clear. No more pain. And I'm like, "This is ridiculous. I need to go to rehab," apparently, with how addicted to caffeine I am, because 3 days, and I literally was having, like, piercing migraine type of pain, from just not having a cup of coffee. So stomach bug that evolved into a head cold that evolved into a caffeine headache that just evolved. There was just a days of a hellish landscape and a nightmare of an experience. But I don't know why this is in the weekly highlight column. Um, but here we are. So a couple more things. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. I have waited a long time for this, a year to be exact. And more so is because throughout the season, I haven't really watched a lot of the games that have been going on. Have been kind of taken over by golf. I've been kind of entrenched in the golf world for a while, so that has taken over. And there's, just with work and everything going on, haven't been able to pay attention to the playoffs, but or to the season. But now that the playoffs are here, your boy is here. And the I know my team's not there. The Heat are not there this season. They did not make it through the play-in tournament. It is what it is. There are other great teams that I get, just to be able to, for the love of the game, just to watch these teams go at it. I kind of get to approach it from an unbiased perspective and just watch good basketball. Um, you know, Tonight the 76ers took it to the Celtics and showed them what's up. Very happy about that. And so they're 1-1 and they're going to Philly. So excited for them. I'm not a Phillies fan. I just hate Boston. So not the place, the team. Okay. As a Heat fan, it's very difficult to celebrate the Celtics. I get that they're a very winning organization, and hats off to all of you for loving you some Celtics, but not over here. So do with that what you will. The Heat will be back. And we're just going to move on from that. So the playoffs are in full swing. Loving watching that. Loving Luca accompanying these games, and he'll see which team I'm rooting for, so that he can root for the opposite team. I'm like, buddy, that's fine, but Philly Boston, you're rooting for Philly, or you're going to a different house. We're not rooting for Boston here. My wife's like, don't say that to him. Like, look, you don't know the lore. You don't know the history uh between Miami and Boston. Luca, you are not rooting for Boston. And then, of course, I'm like, hey, root for whatever team you want. You can root for Boston, but you're just going to be a loser, I guess. So that is what it is. And sure enough, they lost. So there you go. So that was that. And then finally, before we get into my loss for the week and transition into some other topics, finally was able to have a good phone call with my mom. And my parents and my sister live out in Canada with my older brother. Well, they don't live with him, but he also lives out there. And so all of that to say, they're very far away. We don't get to interact and talk all the time. So it was nice to connect with my mom. We were able to talk, and turns out we're both kind of going through a uh, similar situation, with just struggling with worry, and struggling to have faith and to trust God in what he's promised, and what he says he'll do for us. And like all of us, we want to believe and accept those things and kind of walk in that. But then life hits us, and there's things that we got to deal with and navigate that just make us really unsure. And um, such is the way of the world, that we have these worries that it's hard to shake. And um, so being able to talk with her and hear her side of things and what she's struggling with was helpful for me, because that's I'm struggling with different things, but still with worry, and still with the unknown, and what it means to kind of just go on faith and trust God, and just take the step. And so talking through those things, and sharing some different Bible verses and stuff that I was reading earlier that day, actually, was just really nice. It was nice to talk through things. And yeah, so that definitely up there on the highlight reel, that we were like, we'll pray for each other, and we'll just kind of make sure that we keep each other accountable, in keeping the faith, and staying strong, staying committed, um, and staying close with God, and um, talking with him, making sure that we, don't stray too far, so that we don't keep worrying, because it just feels too heavy to worry that much over things we don't have any control over anyways. So, when you think about it like that, it's like, why worry in the first place? You're just making your life harder. So yeah, it was nice talking to her. Um, and also excited because they'll be moving back to the States in a couple months. And so that'll be fun. We'll be able to get some trips out to Florida. I'm looking forward to being able to do that. Maybe take some, little Disney World trips, which would be really cool. And so, yeah, that I think, all of that, those were like the big parts of the week. I'm sure there were other things, but, between being sick and everything else that was going on, I think I captured a solid amount. So, on that note, I'm gonna move into my loss for the week, and it's not just this week. I feel like this is a reoccurring thing that pops up for me, uh, and it just has to do with raising kids. And yeah, I hope I definitely hope I'm not the only one that feels this way and tries to navigate this as best I can. But sometimes I just really can't tell when the right time is to teach and when it's the right time to just kind of be there and be the support. Let your kids just kind of fall on you and you do what they got to do, and you're just there for them, and you're not spending that time trying to teach them and be like, hey, this is what you got to do, type of thing. And this is really big right now with Luca because, like I was saying before, as a dad and you have a son, you're like, I gotta be hard on you so that so that you don't end up, making the same mistakes that I've made. I want you to be better. And because I want you to be better, sometimes that means I gotta be harder on you. And, I don't want to create the same thing of I'm hard on you so now when you're older and you're feeling these emotions and stuff, you feel like you just have to be tough. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish at all. I tell him all the time, like, hey, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. Feel the emotions, get them out, process them, breathe. Um, but even though you're upset, there's still things that we got to do. There's still stuff that we have to take care of. And the main thing that I'm talking about here was just last night. Just last night, every night around 7:30, TV goes off. Dinner's done, TV goes off, and we're cleaning up. We have to pick up all the toys. And when I say we, I mean him, because he has to clean up his mess. That's one of the things that we're trying to instill right now is like, it is exhausting to come home from work, make dinner, dinner's over, then get the kids in the bath, wash them up, get them ready for bed, put them down for bed, and then once that's over, then there's a mess that my wife and I have to clean up. And then by the time that's done, we still haven't even eaten. We're eating late. It's doing weird things to our stomach because we're getting up there. We're in our 30s now. I know it's not up there, but come on, bear with me. I'm talking about coming from being a 20-year-old that can eat spaghetti and chocolate cake and then drink a half a bottle of wine at like 11:30 p.m. and then wake up the next day like it's nothing. That's not happening anymore. So where we're at now, the later we eat, the more we feel it, right? So it's late, we're hungry, all of that to say, we hit a point where it was like, all right, they need to at least clean up their own toys. So we started a thing that was like, all right, 7:30, TV's off, no more, like everything's done. We're about to transition into the let's get ready for bed time. It helps obviously with them switching their mindset from play and leisure to getting ready for bed. So the process of cleaning up the toys is kind of like that transition state over to like okay, I'm winding down. Um, and so in the process of cleaning up the toys, a lot of the toys that are out in the kitchen and in the living room came from the playroom. The playroom is down the hallway by the front door. And, I guess it's far enough away from the main heart of the home, if you will, that it's kinda, like, a little scary over there. And, yes, he's 4 years old. So he's like, I'm telling him, "Hey, pick up your toys, go bring them to the playroom. I'm gonna start cleaning up Shiloh's stuff." Because obviously we're not making an 18-month-old clean up his toys. He's just gonna make a bigger mess. My wife's already, laying down with him, getting him to bed because it's 7:30, and that's usually around the time that we try to get him in bed. So Luca's just getting upset. He's getting to the start of the hallway, and he starts crying and getting upset. And I'm like, buddy, what are you doing? Why are you crying? And he's like, I don't want to go over there by myself. And this is a moment, right, where I'm like, okay, what is this? Is this a teach moment? Or is this all right, I'll go with you, put the toys in? Because my brain is, I'm over here trying to pick up Shiloh's mess so that I can get that done. While I'm getting that done, you should be cleaning up your mess so that all of that can be done in a timely manner and we can get in the bath, and then we can get ready for bed. If I have to pause on cleaning up Shiloh's stuff so that I can walk with you to the playroom every single time you have to go to the playroom and put the toys in there, it's just going to take that much longer for us to get everything cleaned up, which means you're going to get in the bath late, which means you're going to get ready for bed late, which means you're going to be going to sleep late, which means that that's pushing back my night for the things that I would like to do, like watch basketball and eat and relax. So that's where I'm like, is this like how much do I allow or enable the crying? Um, And do I just kinda say like, "Oh, you're scared? Alright, let's go. Alright, cool, let's go." So instead of doing that, I'm like, "Dude, we've been over this. There are no monsters in our house." I started telling him, maybe this is a dad hack that you can use. It didn't work in this moment, but it has worked in the past, so I don't really know what was going on here. But I told him, not too long ago, like, "Buddy, do you know why we got this house? Why we live in this house? We chose this house because it's a monster-free zone. Monsters aren't allowed in this house. They can't come in this house. That's why we picked this house." And it was like "Oh, so monsters can't be here?" And we did a whole thing where I was like, "All right, go in your room. Go look around." And he's like a little afraid. I'm like, "Buddy, trust me. Go in there. I promise you're not gonna see anything." And so he goes in there and runs back out, and he's like, "Oh." I was like, what did you see?" And he was like, "Nothing." I was like, "There's no monsters in there?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Yeah, you know why?" He was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Why?" He's like, "Because they're not allowed in here." I was like, "Bingo. Go look in the bathroom. Go look in the playroom. Go look over here." And so he kinda made this connection that was like, "Oh, monsters really can't be in our home." And so I bring that up, and I'm like, "Buddy, you remember what we talked about, right? You know why we got this house?" And he's like, "'Cause monsters aren't allowed in here." I'm like, "Exactly, bro. So just go put the toys in." And he's like, he still doesn't want to. I'm like, "Buddy, are you just gonna stand there and cry? You can't just stand there and cry." And he's just standing there crying. I'm like, "Oh my God." Um, okay, let's go. So I walk with him to the playroom. We go, he puts the toys down. I turn the light in the playroom on, and it's a mess in the playroom. And I was like, "All right, we're gonna pause on cleaning up the toys in the living room, in the kitchen. You gotta pick up all the stuff in here." So he's like, "All right." He starts cleaning up. And as I'm walking out to go continue cleaning up Shiloh's mess, he starts having a meltdown again. And I'm like, "Luca, what is going on?" He doesn't want to be in there by himself because he's scared. And I'm talking him through the logic process. Mind you, I'm aware of the fact that his prefrontal cortex hasn't even developed fully yet. So he's not able to make the logic and reasoning connection between like, yes, I'm in here by myself, but I don't need to be scared because there's no monsters and monsters don't exist. But I'm there telling him like, you monsters do not exist. There's no such thing. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just clean up. And he's like, he's refusing to do it because he's so scared. And earlier, I had told him, all right, bro, these things that you're leaving out, because he was making a stink about cleaning up. And I was like, all right, buddy, I'm going to tell you what, anything you don't clean up, anything that gets left out, don't be surprised if tomorrow you come out here and it's gone and you can't find it. And he's like, what? I was like, anything you leave out might just get thrown away. I don't know. And he get so he freaks out about that, and obviously is like, oh, I gotta clean everything. So that got him to clean up his stuff. I'll take it. I'll call it a win. It's not a win in this moment because he's having a meltdown. And this is where I'm like, this was probably more of a just be there for him. And like, if it needs to take longer, it needs to take longer. But he needs some reassurance that he's safe and not so much a get get it together and clean up because we're on a time crunch type of enforcement. So I'm over here just like, bro, I don't have time for this. So you're not going to clean up your toys? And he's saying no. And I was like, so you just want me to throw all of them away? And he's literally so afraid that he's like, yes, throw them all away, because I'd much rather that than to try to have to clean all of them up by myself and risk bumping into a monster. He called my bluff, right? So at this point, I'm like, all right, come back out here. We're talking. And I finally get him to go into the playroom, put some stuff down, and he comes back, and I make a big thing about it. I'm like, "Oh my God, you're back. You did you see any monsters?" And he was like, "No, I didn't." And I was like, wait, wait. So you were scared wait, so you were scared. You went over there, you put the toys in the playroom in the dark. There were no monsters?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, there were no monsters." And I was like, "What? So then wait, you didn't need to be scared at all?" And he was like, "No, I didn't need to be scared. There's no monsters." I was like, "Well, great. Get the rest of these things, go put them in the playroom." And he's at this point, he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah. I don't need to be scared anymore." And he does it, and he goes and does it. So I'm torn because like I say this knowing that the next time this happens, there's going to be the like, I'm afraid to do it thing. And we're going to have to probably do all of this again. But I'm torn because it's like in that moment, he walked through that and ended up in a place where he knew that there was nothing to be afraid of, and he was brave and he overcame it. And I told him at the end too, like, I'm proud of you for being brave. I know it's hard. It's okay to it's okay to be afraid. But you also have to realize that you're safe here. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. God's not going to let anything happen. God will protect you and all those different things. But I'm just wondering if like, is 4 the right time? Or like maybe not so much is 4 years old the right time, but in this moment, was it the right thing to spend basically the same amount of time coaching him and like walking him through why he needed to just toughen up and do the thing I'm asking him to do? It would have taken the same amount of time as me just going with him and helping him clean up the toys and put them away. And then he wouldn't be afraid. But it's also like, well, then I'm enabling his fear and saying like, "Oh, you're scared of the monsters? Right, let's go together." Because then that's confirming to him that like he has to go with me or else he can't go at all. So I don't know, but I'm counting it as a loss because I just was reflecting on that and was like, I don't love how unempathetic I was in some of those moments that he's full crying breakdown mode and I'm just like stoically telling him, "Dude, you gotta get your toys and put them away. Like, I hear you and I understand it's okay to be upset. It's okay to cry. You still gotta go put it away." And I'm just not even like being there for him at all. So I don't know. I don't know. Call it what you will. I'm going to call it a loss. I think it's just an area of opportunity to focus on for the future. Um, but that's going to bring us right into our win. The dad win for the week. And this is going to be a big one. So I'm going to try to lock in here and really focus up on on this topic because this has been a long time coming. And one of those things, talking about fear, I did not even plan this and segue it like that intentionally, but talking about fear and how that gets in the way. Um, as you are listening to this, if you're listening to this the day that this has come out on Wednesday, April 22nd, Earth Day, I think, actually. Oh, yeah. If you're listening to this as this is coming out, um, I have officially quit my job, my 9 to 5 job, to pursue my coaching business. And as I say those words out loud, I am filled with fear. I'm terrified to say that because, my coaching business is started in quotation marks, but it is not revenue generating. It is a very small operation of just me. And there is no backup plan. My wife works full time. Her income covers our bills, and that's it. Uh, we will have from what we get from our tax return, we'll have some savings that we can rely on and hopefully not have to dip into and deplete. Uh, but yeah, I'm calling it a win because for years now, this has been something that I've prayed about and I've asked for guidance and like a clear answer on and all these things and something about this week being sick and then coming back to work and um being at work and realizing how much time I'm spending just doing nothing um and working for a corporation that I could be replaced at any moment in time. Um, the vibe I've gotten so far is that even with all the work I've done, it's not enough, and that's just how it is in corporate life and in that kind of work. That like that's just the nature of the beast. And you clock it, you punch in, you do your work, you punch out, you go home, you're drained, but you're still just thinking about everything you got to do the next day, and it's exhausting. It's been such a motivation killer to be there, and, um, and I quit, and as terrifying as that sounds, it has brought me so much peace just in the leading up to knowing that I don't have to go in there anymore. Um, I don't have to pretend to be this, like, corporate, poised, polished guy. I can just be myself and not have to worry about what that means, and the perception and all of this nonsense that we waste. Like I waste so much of my time thinking about and having to make sure I'm careful of uh, when I'm when I'm working there, and uh, yeah, it's over. Uh, it's a it's a it leads into my lesson for the week, and it's just to step out and have faith. Um, It's it's very hard. Yeah, and, like, I'll say this, and then I'm sure after I'm done recording, I will probably be like, "Maybe I shouldn't quit. Maybe I'll go in tomorrow and just see how I feel." But that's how it's been. That's how it's been every day, week in, week out, year in, year out, of just like, "Let's see what tomorrow's like. Maybe tomorrow will feel different." It never does. Or wins that I get at work here and there where it's like, "Yeah, great job, pat on the back," and it feels good, and it's like, "Okay, well then, yeah, I can ride that momentum into the next thing that I have to do for work." but as quickly as I accomplish something, just as quickly there can be like a, "Hey, you didn't do this right." And it turns into like, "Well, then what, what is going on?" Nothing's ever really enough, Not and it's just, it's not fulfilling. And, I think from a larger scale, stepping into, like, the lesson for the week to step out in faith, God does not want you to live a life where what you do feels meaningless. He does not want you to live a meaningless, droning life. He has plans for you to prosper and wants you to be successful, wants you to feel purpose, has a purpose for you. Um, and this is not me saying to everybody listening, go quit your job and just kind of do what do whatever. I'm fully aware that the step that I'm taking is in the eyes of human and like the eyes of man, very risky, and irresponsible choice. But it's also something that, unless you know what it feels like to feel the calling that I feel, um, it's just not, it's hard to understand. It's hard to explain, and it's hard to understand if you don't know what that feels like. So I know what that feeling is. I have felt that calling for a very long time. And as risky as it is, as much work as it's going to be to scale this business, um, I know in my heart of hearts, and I feel the message from God saying, "All I need you to do, I've literally have everything ready for you. I've gone ahead of you. I've prepared all of this stuff for you. All I need you to do is to take the step, is to take the first step out there." Um, I know it's tough because you're taking a step out in the dark, and our natural way of being is to want to have control and have a plan for everything that's in front of us so that we know steps A through Z. Um, but God is literally just saying like, it's all there. All you need to do is just take the step. I can't make you go. I can close doors so that it kinda is leading you towards a path, especially if that's something that you're asking him for, something that I've been asking him for a long time, since last year when I was laid off from my previous job. And I talked about that in a previous episode where I was like, if I'm not careful, because I've been asking God for a sign or for a message that like to show me what my purpose is, show me what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, because I know that this isn't it. I know this 9 to 5 corporate thing, as fun as it can be at times, I know this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing with my future. And I know what I'm supposed to be doing is more in line with what you want me to do. So show me what that is. And all the while I knew what that was. But it was just like, well, yeah, but text it to me. Like have it be so glaringly obvious that there's no way I could mistake it. And my thing, what I've come to realize is like, if you have this like dream, or if you have this goal that you're aspiring towards, whatever you want to call it, vision, whatever it is, and it's something that is just always there, that no matter how much time passes, it always comes back to this thing. That tells me that that's something that is written on you, that's written on your heart, that's something that you're supposed to be pursuing. And if you ignore that for too long, um, one of the things I think about is how many people are out there that could benefit from the message that you have, uh, but you're so afraid to take that step that you are like depriving them of a blessing, or depriving them of a lifeline, or of a message that they need to hear, or whatever it is that you have to offer. So in my case, with like a faith-based coaching business for dads, to teach them how to, or be there as a mentor, as a guide. I again, I hate calling myself an expert or anything like that, but um, using the things that I've learned, the skills that I've picked up over my career, and how closely they apply to leading your home. Things like leadership development, emotional intelligence, change management, servant leadership, those kinds of things. Uh, from a corporate lens, you can talk about all day, but how that weaves into scripture and like God's purpose for fathers in a home, and what that means to be there as a mentor and just as a coach to help dads be more present, go from being, drained and tired and not knowing how to show up fully, to having a plan and having an anchor in place to where they can show up as a more present and intentional version of themselves. Um, the longer I put that off, how many dads out there are going to just drown in the same things that I've been struggling with, because of the fact that I'm just, head down trying to make it work. Meanwhile, I'm here at this job for money, but it's not like we're doing great financially. Like, we're still just barely getting by. And all of that for me to just feel exhausted and burnt out and stressed and unhappy and miserable all the time, and never able to see my kids. And I wake up I'm gone in the morning before they're awake, and I'm back home in time to basically make them dinner and get them ready for bed. And that's all the time I get with them until the weekend. So the whole living for the weekend and living to work instead of working to live and all of that stuff, it just doesn't that's not the life that God wants for you. That's not the life that God wants for me. That's not the life that God has intended for fathers to be as leaders of their family. Um, and so as much as he's been like screaming at me to take this step, and as crazy as it feels and sounds, and I'm just waiting for all of the feedback, from people that are close to me, and um, to hear how much of a mistake it is, and all this different stuff. I'm just waiting for that. Um, I know that it's the right choice, and I'm so tired of ignoring that I can't do it anymore, and I have to listen. So my win is that I quit. It's weird to say it like that, but my win is that I finally, uh, am done with that. I'm done with pursuing work for the sake of money, um, and I'm ready to step out in faith and do my very best not to worry, and to trust that God has already created a plan and has set things in motion. All he's asking me to do, and all he's asking you to do, is just to take the step out there. I talked about all of this in the first episode of the podcast, about trusting God, and just trust God and get moving. That, like, we talk about all the time, that we trust him, we put our faith in him, we want to blah blah blah, but then we worry and we stew on all these different things. Trust him, and if you say you trust him, then shut up and get moving, and do the things that he's asking you to do. Do the things you've been putting off, the things you're supposed to do. Show up and let him work. But you also got to do your part. So I know that it's on me too, right? It's on me to say, hey, I quit this job, but that doesn't mean now I'm just going to sit around and wait for leads and wait for people to ring my phone and say, hey, are you a coach? Because I need it. Like, I'm going to have to show up and put the work in. Um, and I'd much rather spend my time doing that. I'd much rather work 40, 50, 60-hour weeks doing that kind of work, fulfilling work, um, than spend all my time sitting in an office, making trainings and talking to leaders who don't even care about the stuff that I'm talking about. Um, so yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's my lesson. Um, I'm tired of asking God for signs and then ignoring the answers. And the past couple of days, it's been, you know, if me walking out of this place is what I'm supposed to do and just taking the step like like Peter on the boat when he saw Jesus walking on water and Jesus was like, "Come on." I know the other disciples were in that boat like, "Peter, buddy, that's a storm out there. You're not Jesus. Do not go step on that water." And Peter said, Jesus is saying, do it. I think I'm going to do it. And he did it. And he was walking on water for a moment there until he took his eyes off of him. And that's the water I'm getting into is I want to walk on the water, but I got to remember, and this is for you too. You can walk on the water, but you got to remember not to take your eyes off of him, because that's when you start to sink. And meanwhile, he's going to be there. He's going to be there to catch you, but keep your eyes on him. And so, in all of that, in my deep, depressive episodes this week of navigating, am I supposed to stay in this job and just be miserable? I know that that cannot be what God wants for my life. I know He has to be telling me that there's more to this, and for me to even be questioning, like what is the sign that it's going to take for me to know that it's time for me to move. I open my Bible and Isaiah 41 verses 9 through 15 just comes popping out at me. So I'm going to read it. I'm going to try, I'm going to try to read it. I'm going to try to read it all the way through. And the overarching theme of it is just don't be afraid. Isaiah 41, 9 through 15 says, I took you from the ends of the earth, from its farthest corners I called you. I said, you are my servant. I've chosen you and have not rejected you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. All who rage against you will surely be ashamed and disgraced. Those who oppose you will be as nothing and perish. Though you search for your enemies, you will not find them. Those who wage war against you will be as nothing at all. For I am the Lord your God who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. So imagine being in the midst of spiraling out of control, not knowing where to go, what move to make, and then reading that. And then still wondering, so what am I supposed to do? Like reading that and then being like, okay, God, what does that mean? What are you telling me? Like, hello, just being smacked over the head with, I'm going to help you. I am your God. I will help you. Don't be afraid. And being like, okay. Whew. So what do I do? um, so then I keep reading and I keep looking through and I find, Psalm 34. And if you're a Bible head, then you probably already know what that chapter is, but um verses 1 through 22, which I'm pretty sure is the whole chapter. I'm not sure, but I'm going to read that one too because I was still unsure. I read Isaiah 41, 9 through 15. I sent it to one of my best friends. I sent it to my wife. I sent it to my mom. I was like, this is it right here. My best friend, he texts me and he's like, dude, I have this bookmarked. And this is one of the things I have bookmarked. Uh, and it's crazy. Like this is something that we need to remember and call on when we're talking to him and say like, hey, you have promised that you will take my right hand and will guide me and help me. Um, so I'm holding you to that promise, right? That's the mindset. That's the mindset that I'm trying to adopt with all of this. Um, But even in reading that, I was like, okay, sounds good, but I'm still still on the fence here because we're talking about leaving 90 grand a year um, to not be sure when I'm gonna make a dollar off of this coaching business. And I know I want to say that I have faith and that I trust you, but I've always been the one in control of my finances. At least I'd like to think so. Oh, are you sure? Are you sure that this is what I need to be doing? Psalm 34, 1 through 22. I think it's the whole chapter. Oh, I will extol the Lord at all times. His praise will always be on my lips. I will glory in the Lord. Let the afflicted hear and rejoice. Glorify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. This poor man called, and the Lord heard him. He saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you his holy people, for those who fear him lack nothing. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Come, my children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Whoever of you loves life and desires to see many good days, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from telling lies. Turn from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their cry. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil, to blot out their name from the earth. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. He protects all his bones. Not one of them will be broken. Evil will slay the wicked. The foes of the righteous will be condemned. The Lord will rescue his servants. No one who takes refuge in him will be condemned. Man, I thought I was going to get through this whole episode without crying. But here we are. I don't know what uh I don't know what you might be going through. I don't know what you might be struggling with, what what prayers you've been praying. And I'm not sure if you have been struggling with the kind of step out in faith and trust God type of approach. Now's the time. I think now is the time. If you're listening to this and there's no refuting that God is telling you it's all already figured out. It's all planned out. He has it all figured out. All you have to do is take the first step. It's the age old you can lead a horse to water but you can't make him drink. He can have all the stuff planned out and ready for you, but he's not going to force you to do anything. It's got to be you that makes the choice and makes the decision to say I'm going to take that step. Um I hope you will take that step because it is pretty life-changing. This coming from someone who, at this current moment while I'm recording this, haven't even officially quit my job yet. But just knowing that I'm taking the step in the direction of where I have felt God calling me for years, I already feel like my life has changed. The other thing I wanted to do on this episode was what I did last week. Um, Dogs over there are feeling the message too. Um, and I last week we read some things on Reddit from dads that are looking for advice. Um, we're deep in this episode. We're almost like an hour and a half in. But there were some that I just wanted to read through and kind of talk through because very same sentiments that I was feeling when I was reading through this. The first one says, "My third child is 8 days old. My other two are 4 and 2 years old. I'm tired, grumpy, short-tempered. I'm the worst version of myself and not even close to the best parent I can be. When my older two are playing, I just get annoyed because I can see the fallout to come. My wife is carrying me. I'm ashamed of that, but I just can't seem to find the fun that I normally have with my family." Tearing up writing this. "Help me break out of this rut. I hate the man that I am right now." This one stood out to me because this was me. Man, um, this was me literally up until like now that I'm like, man, I'm trying to be this. I want so desperately to be this guy that can show up as a coach and a mentor for dads like this that are like, I don't know what is going on. I feel like the worst version of myself. I don't know what's happening. And I want to be able to like breathe encouragement and life and everything into dads like this. But I feel like this. And I feel like this because I'm running. I'm like running away from what I know I'm supposed to be doing, but all the while thinking and stewing on the fact that I'm meant for something more than what I'm actually doing. And not to say that this is the case for this dad, but um I gotta say there's a feeling that I get that there's part of this dad's life that um there's something he's trying to escape or is pouring all time and effort and energy into something that's not giving any return. Um, and when you do that, especially, you know, I'm speaking from the perspective of a dad because that's the only place I can speak from. Um, but especially as a dad who believes that, you are the leader of your home and the tone setter and the emotional anchor and all of those things that God calls us to be. If that is how you're showing up, that you're like, I can't even will myself to enjoy my time with my family, everything just annoys me, and I just can't take it. One, you got a baby that's 8 days old, so you're probably very tired. That's one thing I'll say. So definitely get some rest and know, you've been through the trenches before. Um, and you know that what sleep deprivation and stuff can do to you. You almost like are contemplating life. You're like, I don't even want to be a dad. In those moments, you're like, what am I doing? What am I even doing this for? So get some rest. This too shall pass, but also think about if you're feeling like that, if you're feeling as though you can't find any enjoyment anymore out of being a dad, that being around your kids is just causing frustration. You can't enjoy your time with your family anymore. You hate the version of yourself, the version that you are right now. Um, and you're trying to break out of whatever rut you're in. That's it. It's a rut, which means that something needs to change. And I think it takes, doing an inventory of what's going on in your life, what kind of areas of your life are not fulfilling. And maybe it's that. Maybe it's the same thing as me, that you're like, are you just working for the sake of a paycheck, and the majority of your day you feel like is meaningless, but you have to do it. Um, I would challenge that thought process, because that's how I've felt this whole time. And again, as terrifying as all of this is, to say, "Hey, I'm gonna walk away from this stable position, um, and pursue this thing that God is calling me towards, with the full faith that He has something planned." I can't see it. I don't know that it's there for sure, but I believe it is, and I'm taking that step. Um, Maybe that's the step. Maybe there's a different approach. But something's got to change in the routine that you've fallen into. Maybe there's new habits that need to be formed and old ones that need to be broken. Um, Maybe there's things that you're leaning on that you need to let go of. But that one stood out, was screaming. It was like bolded out to me, because that explained my life so thoroughly, over the past however long, that as much as I try to show up and be present and, be intentional, because I have this podcast, and like I'm on here talking about be a good dad and all this stuff. But meanwhile, I'm like, I can't even will myself to play with my kids and have one-on-one time with them, because I'm just always disgruntled and frustrated. Um, you need peace, and that peace is only going to come from one place. Right. All right. This next one says, my wife believes strongly in building a sense of security and confidence by always being there and responding to every cry for help. I'm concerned about building resilience, confidence, and independence. At what age do you all feel like it's more essential to help guide a child to be more independent, confident, and resilient? My son is a little older than 2 years. I have heard feedback that this is too early to have concerns about independence, but I also know that early development is huge for setting a foundation. In general, where does the big shift happen from "don't worry, you're safe," being most important, to "hey, life is rough and you got to start figuring this stuff out"? This is exactly what I was talking about with Luca, and being scared to go put his toys away. Mind you, he's 4. I'm thinking that 4 is a more appropriate age to start saying, like, "Hey, you're getting to be a big kid. You're gonna have to start figuring this stuff out." One of the things I said to him was, um, and this was wild. This is where I'm like, I don't know that you need to go this far, but I literally was like, "Mommy and daddy are not always gonna be here for you to help you when you're scared. Like, there's gonna be a time where you're gonna have to figure this stuff out for yourself. And right now is not one of those times, but we can do that in a controlled way, in a controlled environment. I'm standing right here in the living room. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. You just need to go down the hallway and put the toys in the playroom, because I'm asking you to do it because you need to clean up your toys, and it's good for you to experience this feeling of fear and then realizing that you don't need to feel that way. Um, that you can have it in you, but it doesn't need to take over you. Um, and as I'm saying that, I'm realizing that that is exactly the message that I need to hear in taking this step, is that like it's okay to feel that fear. Um, my wife and I were talking about all of this too, and um, last night was really rough because her mindset around all of it was like, this just is too scary to imagine, like, with everything we have going on right now, losing your stable income just does not feel, it just feels reckless. It doesn't feel like something that we can risk. And, that deflated me and completely like took the wind out of my sails. I felt like my, I felt like my spirit like left my body, until today, where it was like, she followed back up and was like, "Hey, I think I processed all of it, and I'm ready to take that step. I'm terrified, but like I don't want to live in fear." And and I think it's that. It's like the whole, it's okay to be afraid, but you can't let that stop you. You know what I mean? And so for in this case, 2 is, I would probably say, depending on how much you're trying to instill independence and resilience, 2 might be a little too soon. I'm thinking about Luca, or I'm thinking about Luca at 2, and I'm thinking about Shiloh coming up on 2 years old. There are some ways that he can start gaining some independence, independent play, and him being able to choose, um, what he wants to play with, and like choose where he wants to go, um, right now we let him kind of pick his snacks and stuff like that. So there are those kinds of things, and the whole, like, being there for every single cry for help. There is an element of needing to be able to regulate emotions, and I think at 2 years old is probably a good time to start introducing that gradually a little bit. It's certainly not yet the moment to be like, "Hey, you're on your own, bud. You gotta figure it out." Because even at 4, there's some things that Luca is like, he's not ready for. And, maybe we've done not as great a job as we could of leading up to this to instill that like resilience and independence type of thing, confidence thing. But it's coming out. Like, it's gonna I think you'll see, as your kid gets older, they're gonna naturally want to have their independence and branch out. I'm thinking of Avery now at 7, um, going on 8, naturally is like, I gotta have my independence. I need my Avery time. She will wake up in the morning and stay in her room so that she can have her own time to herself. Um, and then during the day, will want to have these pockets of time where it's just her doing her own thing. She has to choose, obviously has to choose her own outfits. She wants to choose, she wants to pick, and she has the confidence in being able to say, like, these are the things I want to do. I don't really care what other people say or feel about what I want. Um, and that's really, really great. I know she gets a lot of that from her mom, which is great. She gets a lot of that from, what we pour into her and what we try to tell her and instill in her too. Um, and the resilience and stuff, being able to bounce back from losses and things like that. That's a struggle. That's a struggle still, even at 7. The resilience is tough. Um, so I would say anybody that's navigating that with a young kid, 2 years old, is like, there's a lot of room for grace there, and a lot of time still to figure out the boundaries of like how much is too much. Not every single cry for help is something that you need to respond to, because at that age there is enough wherewithal with them to realize that they can probably get away with a lot if they know that you're going to answer every single cry for help. They can kind of milk it a little bit. But there's that balance there. Still, I would personally say, like, I'm not a child development expert, but I would say 2 years old is still a little early for leaning really heavy into um, life's rough. You got to start. You got to start figuring this out for yourself. You can lead by example. You can kind of like show, as I would think, at 4 years old, the way that I am with Luca is I'll give him examples from my life um, that are kind of equate to what he's struggling with in that moment, so that he can kind of see, oh, okay, daddy struggles with that too. So it's okay that I feel this way. It's not weird that I'm feeling like this, but there is a way to solve this. There's a solution through all of this. Um, so hopefully that's helpful. And then the last one, hey dads, I've been looking for a supportive place to call home on Reddit with the impending birth of my daughter. She's due mid-July. She'll be I'll be 37 and my wife 33, and it's our firstborn. Just really looking for any any practical advice as to what to expect being a girl dad. Oh, buddy. I plan to read to her every night some of my childhood faves and hopefully play some computer games with her someday. Anything you heroes could advise, I'm all ears. Oh man. All I'm going to say is do not let anybody tell you uh, anything different. Your daughter is going to melt you. Your daughter's going to melt you. You got to let it happen. You got to let that wall come down. You're going to be wrapped around her finger. If I can advise anything is to maybe be mindful of how much you let her get away with because of that, because of what I just said, that like you're going to be wrapped around her finger. She's going to know it. And there's going to be times where she's going to try to take advantage of that because kids are still kids and they're still testing their boundaries and learning and all that stuff. I let it happen and it created a not great dynamic um, for a little bit there. And now with how frequently she's over, there is still guilt every now and then that I'm like, all right, you can get away with, you could stay up a little later or whatever. But things are much more fair now. And I am more in the same way that I will hold my sons accountable, I will hold her accountable too for the things. All the rules apply to everybody. There is no exception to the rule. There's no favoritism being shown. Um, but the girl is going to melt you like a popsicle in Arizona during summer. It's crazy. It is healing in a lot of ways too, because you realize this like love that you didn't really know that you had. And yeah, do everything you're saying. Read, be into all the stuff that she's into. Just get on your hands and knees and be in it with her. Play, be the characters, do all the things. Those are going to be the things, thinking about what we were talking about earlier and walking down memory lane and all the stuff that she started to remember, and pick up on were all of those things that, um, I felt silly doing it in the moment, but she remembers them still. Like at 7 years old, she's remembering some of the stuff that was happening when she was 2, 3 years old. Uh, because I was like, you know what? I only got this once. Like I only have this opportunity one time. I'm going to be fully in it. And, those, 7 is my oldest kid, but I'm praying and hoping that that kind of connection that you establish from now will lead over into those teenage years and beyond when, there's heavier life stuff that's happening, development stuff that's happening. And, rather than feel like she can't talk to you about those things, she'll know that you're her safe place that she can go to. Um, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's, all the things that I'm doing now are with the hope that when she gets older, that it's not going to be that like, I don't want anything to do with my dad. My dad doesn't get me, blah, blah, blah." I want there to be that bond and that dynamic that we have, that she can come to me with those things and talk to me about the things that she's struggling with. Um, so that she doesn't feel like she has to find that on social media or find that with her friends, that who knows what kind of dads they have, or if they have dads that are actively involved in their lives, or whatever's going on. I don't know, but I definitely trust that I have her best interest at heart a lot more than I can say that about for like whatever friends or whoever's out there that she's interacting with. Um, so yeah, just be there, do all the things be into all the things that she's into. Let her dress you up. Let her paint your nails. Let her put wigs on you. I don't know. All the things that you're like, man, I'm not doing all that. Do it. Do it. Don't let her feel like she's dumb for wanting to have that kind of bond with you, because boy, and do the daddy daughter dates. Make them a thing, stick to them, and have them be a thing for as long as she will let you have them be a thing. Um, because what that what that has already done, and what I hope it continues to do for me and for my relationship with my daughter, is something different, something special. Man, that's good stuff. But that's a good run. That's a good run for episode, I think, 4 of Dad's Signal. At this point, if you're still listening and you haven't followed along wherever you're listening to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can follow YouTube if you're watching the video and you got to see my tears falling. And you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? I'm here crying for free. I mean, it's free to subscribe, but I'm here crying for for you to just look at me and then move on. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Comments, I would love, because as much as I love going on Reddit and pulling these, I would love to read some comments um, from dads that are listening, or moms, wives, anybody, daughters that are listening to this, anybody that's listening that is like, hey, this is some good stuff. Leave a comment. Shout you out on the show. You can email us at dadsignalpod@gmail.com. If you are a dad that is looking for coaching, um, and maybe you're like, I don't really know what that looks like or what that means, we can do a free call. We can just kind of jump on for 30 minutes, chop it up for a little bit, see how you're feeling and what next steps you want to take. But the links are in the description of the video, in the show notes. If you're listening to the podcast, you can follow those links to stand.store/dad signal pod. You can schedule a one-on-one free consultation, if you want to call it that, with me. We'll talk for 30 minutes. If it's something that you feel like you want to pursue, we can set up some coaching and get things going. There is a free guide if you're looking for a quick, like 5-minute way to reset each day, come home from work and just kind of reset your expectations and your intentions before you walk in the house and show up as a dad for your family and for your kids, for your wife. Then that is in the link in the description as well. That's a free download that you just got to pop your email in there so that it'll email to you and you can download it. And questions, comments, advice, anything that you're looking for, you can reach out, dadsignalpod@gmail.com. We're on all socials, TikTok, Instagram, at dadsignalpod. So give us a follow. We'll be back next week, and check us out throughout the week. I'll be releasing videos on different topics. We got courses coming soon that I'm excited for, so be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, stay present, stay intentional, stay grounded, keep the faith, take the leap, and we'll see you next week.